Larry, thank you for joining me this afternoon, lunchtime.
It is
It's
lunchtime.
It's
I'm
lunchtime.
delighted to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Lunchtime Art Sunday, and we're neighbours today as well.
Indeed, on Arts Sunday here on the seafront, yeah.
So, talk to me a little bit about the genesis of the Victor Hugo Centre. How did the idea even spark?
Right. Well, the idea of the Victor Hugo Centre really has been around for at least a generation. People recognize how important Hugo is to the island, and the Hauteville House is only open 6 months of the year, and it is a total work of art, and so it can't really adapt to a lot of contemporary needs. So it has no exhibition space. It has no space for teaching children and students. And so the idea of the Hugo Centre is that it will be a complement to Hauteville House, but much more than that as well, because it is really about Guernsey as an island of inspiration. Hugo arrived on the island in 1855, having not published anything of great significance for more than a decade, and within a year published his most famous book of poetry, followed it up with Les Miserables and then Toilers of the Sea, and found this to be a great place for creativity and artistry. And so we want to share that message and really use Hugo as the catalyst for that.
And so it's an idea that's been around for a while, and you've been busy fundraising as well. So
we have. I've been fundraising on the island now for about 18 months, and we've raised a little over £7.5 million towards our £10 million goal. And I think a lot of people were skeptical that we could do that, but I think that people recognize that what we're doing is bringing value in many different ways to the island, because we have, of course, the cultural benefits, but also educational, heritage, tourism, and economic benefits that will flow from the center. Because the center really is made up of three parts. We have on the ground floor a performance, event, and temporary exhibition space. On the first floor, the museum to Hugo with 7 galleries, starting, and importantly, with Hugo's Island, the story of Hugo and his rapport with Guernsey. And then the top floor is a learning center for school children and students, and using Hugo really not as to tell them about a historic figure from the 19th century, but rather as a way for them to unlock their own imagination, creativity, and social awareness, because Hugo was a great proponent of human rights, social justice, universal education, freedom of expression. These are fundamental Enlightenment values that today, generations later, are actually under threat in many parts of the world. And we believe that Guernsey should be adding its voice to support those key ideals.
Since you launched this project, what kind of response have you had, and what role has it played in sort of promoting the Victor Hugo story? Like you touched on there, it's much bigger than just Toilers of the Sea, for instance.
Yeah. It's been really gratifying, because it's amazing how many people don't really know much about Victor Hugo, and many people have visited Hauteville House, but a long time ago. And because it doesn't really change, although there has been a major €4 million renovation restoration of the building, which has been very, very helpful and funded by the city of Paris. But I think that what we have now is the ability to really talk about Hugo as a global icon. He is a figure known throughout the world. And if you think even just of Les Miserables, the musical version of his work, that has been produced in 45 countries to over 1 million people. and very few of those people sadly know that this is the home of Les Miserables, that he largely revised, rewrote, and published it from Guernsey. And so we want that message to go to the world, so that it will help Guernsey in terms of its a kind of cultural diplomacy, spreading the word, but also it becomes a place where people on the island can learn about the important role that he played, really a visionary role in his ideas and his principles of, as I said, human rights, social justice, but also things like the abolition of the death penalty, the abolition of slavery. These are still important issues in the world, and Guernsey can add its voice to that.
Because I guess with Hugo, one of the aspects I've touched on was that death penalty and the role in Guernsey as well, that he wrote the
Yes,
letter.
yeah, it was very important in Guernsey because it was there was a man named John Tapner who was accused and convicted of murder, and he was then sentenced to death. And Hugo led a group to really argue that the death penalty was wrong. That even if he did kill someone, the solution to that is not to kill him. It is to show a level of compassion and mercy. And actually, he even wrote to the Secretary of the Home Office. He was unsuccessful in that. Tapner was executed in Guernsey, but it was in fact the last execution that ever occurred in Guernsey. So indirectly, he actually did have a great influence.
So it's an amazing sort of thread through all of our lives, isn't it? Essentially, we've got that connection back there. It's an ambitious project.
It is very ambitious, and I'm really not apologetic about that because my background. I'm an architect, and I have had the honor and privilege to create buildings in more than 24 countries. But in London, I was the architect for the Churchill Museum and Cabinet War Rooms, the Darwin Centre at the Natural History Museum, the Enlightenment Gallery at the British Museum. And Guernsey, there's no reason why Guernsey shouldn't have a museum that is equal in quality to any of those. And that's why we're working not only with award-winning local architects, DLM, Dave Delamere, but also I contacted the people who worked with me in the Churchill Museum. They're a firm called Nick Mann with offices in Paris and London. And they have, for instance, recently opened the new National Maritime Museum in Paris. They, as I said, did the Churchill Museum in London and the Ben Franklin Museum in America. And so we can have a facility that is equal to anything in the world. And there's, as I say, Guernsey should have that, and I really believe that.
And we were talking just off camera before about like the number of French visitors and that's really building as well. It seems like this is coming at the right time.
Yes, the decision to go with Brittany Ferries has been a fantastic boon to tourism in Guernsey. 700 to 800 French a day come during the summer season now, and they come all through the year. And of course, they want to see Victor Hugo's house, Hauteville House, but because of the limited number of tickets available, many people get turned away. They still, even in just 6 months of the year, they have over 20,000 visitors. But there are another 20,000 who don't get in, and we want to be a place for that. And so having the location in the former Visitor Information Center right on the seafront, exactly where the ferries and the cruise ships come in, mean that it will become a kind of a gateway attraction for Guernsey, because it will encourage local people to explore and our visitors to discover the island, and to really learn more about it, because Hugo, when he wasn't riding, was constantly either walking or taking carriage rides around the island, and we know all the places he visited, and that is almost the whole island, because he kept very meticulous diaries of everything that he did.
Is there anything you've uncovered since this project began that surprised you, that you didn't know before? Is there?
Oh, there's a lot that has surprised me. Hugo is such a multifaceted character that I think that very few people, we were blessed on the island to have two Hugo scholars, Dinah Bott at the Prio and Gregory Stevens Cox, who have done a lot. But every day I learn something new about Victor Hugo.
And let's cast our eye to the future a bit more. You're obviously close, but not all the way there with a fundraising target. What are the next stages for you?
Well, we have 75% of the funding raised, but I continue to talk to as many people in groups as I can to encourage them to help us really achieve effectively independence, so that with the endowment, with the additional funding, we won't have to go to the States. We won't have to go fundraising all the time. But at the same time, what we're doing is trying to show people what the center will bring. And so last year we introduced the Victor Hugo town trails and the cliff trails, following in his footsteps, not only with the information boards, but there are QR codes on them, and the QR codes allow you to listen in French or English to his poetry and prose, all recorded by local people, which I think is fantastic. And just in the last month or so, we've introduced the Victor Hugo retail trail, the shops, about a dozen shops where he used to frequent, and you can learn about what the shops were in the 19th century and really learn more about the whole town itself that way. And then we're also having lectures. Next month we have the leading Victor Hugo expert in the UK, Dr. Bradley Stevens, come to talk about Hugo's views on war and peace, which seems very topical these days. And that will be at the OGH. But almost every month we're trying to do something, poetry evenings, things like that. So.
Do you have a date in mind for when we could see the centre open?
I do. It's one always has to be very positive about the future. Our goal, we have the planning consent is about to be submitted, the planning approval is about to be submitted, and we hope to get that before the end of the year so that we can go to tender in the first quarter of next year and actually begin work on the building the second quarter of next year, with a 2-year construction period, so that we'll be ready for the high season of tourism in 2029.
Larry, thanks for your time. It's fantastic to hear more about it. Ambitious, exciting, great for the island.
Well, that's fantastic. I really appreciate the opportunity. And if I can just encourage everyone to go to our website, which is vhc.gg, so Victor Hugo Centre.gg, and have a look at what we're up to, and perhaps sign up for our newsletter or even make a donation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning into this podcast. If you've got all this way, I'm really hoping that you've enjoyed our work. There's a few things you can do though to support us. Follow, like, subscribe, share, whatever you can do to help spread the word of the Quarry. The other thing you can do is head on over to our website, where you can become a member and really support independent local news.